but I don't like black music, funk, you know. It bores me to tears. You know.
So you definitely don't want the band to go that way?
Oh no, no. This is as far as it goes now. It's the end of that. Back to rock and roll, next LP.
Isn't that hard because Glenn and David are so much into black music?
No, only Glenn's into black music.
He's a guy that used the words Glenn Hughes in his shoeshine music and funky, but if you people listen to Stormbringer, please listen. Richie Blackmore is damn funky, whether he likes it or not. He played wonderfully on the album. I think at this point he'd had enough of playing. He'd lost his foothold, I think, as far as we were going in a more band direction, as far as Coverdale, Lord Pace and Hughes were. We were going in a new direction, you know, we were growing.
I wasn't, in a way, I was going through, not a personal problem, but there was like, I was thinking of other things and I should have been thinking of music, but I wasn't thinking really much on music at the time. Because I didn't have the people there that I wanted to have there, you know.
There are times when I feel like just saying, oh, let's forget it, you know, let's all go home, and we've all got enough money to just say, well, I'll do another LP when I feel like doing it. Because really, that's what every group should do. But every group is pressured by the record company. It's only guarding their own interests. A group only lasts a certain length of time, so they get the most out of them. It doesn't matter whether they fold up in 5 years, as long as they've made about 10 LPs in the meantime. Whereas in actual fact, to get the best out of a group, you've got to give them a year for each LP, I would think, for an actual progression without forcing it. And that really bugs me, actually, going to the studio. Right, we're going to turn out an LP, boys, you know, here we go, blah, blah, blah. I've got to write a song today, you know. It's just ridiculous, you know. Yeah. And I don't know if I've got the guts to do it, but I've often thought, that's it. I'd like to leave, not the band, I just want to get out of the business, play when I feel like playing, and do a record when I feel like recording. It would be fantastic, but you can't have it all your own way, you know.
The reason Richie left Deep Purple was, and I can't quote his exact words, but I can quote the sort of basic statement was, I want to do something different.
Right.
That's what he said.
Right.
Now what happened is he left us and he did exactly the same.
Yeah.
And when he left, we did something different. We changed. And we say, if anything, Richie was the person which was holding it in one place.
Yeah, but...
And he took it away, and he took that same thing with him.
Can I just enhance what Ian said?
You can do what you like.
No, also, a very, very major part of that was the fact that Blackmore wanted people to do things how he imagined. Instead of when you present a song to a group, it's a group song. Everybody puts their identity on it for a group sound and a group feeling, right? Blackmore wanted puppets, you know, that he could manipulate into doing exactly what the fuck he wanted. And with that, it's still restricting for a free-thinking musician, you know, or a self-expressive musician, to cope with that kind of situation.
It started with Black Sheep of the Family, the song. I put it to the Purple, let's do the song. They went, no, why should we? And I'm like, but it's such a great song. And they went, no, we didn't write it. I'm like, what's that got to do with that? And I'm like, because you won't get any writing credits, you don't do this song? Yep. That was basically the bottom line. You know, music is, you're always fighting music to get to the bottom of something. You can't, you know, go through life shaking people's hands and going, everything's wonderful. If you're a newborn Christian, maybe. I just, you know, for me, it's, life is a struggle. There's icebergs everywhere. You've got to dodge them.
You couldn't get close to Richie. I think anybody can, as soon as you get close to Blackmore, you're gone. As far as, you know, gone, either fired or you're gone spiritually, because, you know, he doesn't want comfort, he wants tension. I like that. I want to thank him for pushing me and actually robbing me to make me a better singer, bass player. The old drama of don't come across my side of the stage because I'll hit you with my guitar. I want to thank him for that, because it showed truth, arrogance, and somewhat of a genius to do that.
David heard me on Cobham albums and stuff, you know.
Yeah, why not?
And James Gang albums, and they were looking all over the East Coast, New York and Boston and yada yada, you know. I guess.
Okay,
and I lived like 2 minutes from him in Malibu, in California.
Good one.
It was ridiculous.
All right,
so.
bye. And how did he actually approach you?
He just called up and they just said, "Do you wanna, jam a bit?" And I said, "Yeah." You know, I wasn't that enthused about being in an English band.
Why?
Because English bands tend to be a bit sterile a lot. You know, I mean, everything is exact. I mean, every time they play, it's the same jokes, the same. You know, it really is. I mean, it's it gets to a point of being really bland, and I just didn't want to. You know, the way I play, I didn't want to be a part of that. So. When I did go down, it was like within the first, tune, I knew that it was they're a very Americanized English band. I mean, they grew up with the same roots as I grew up with, which really amazed me.
I'm not going to tell you that we had a great time, Tommy and I, cavorting around the globe, stoned, because it wasn't great. Drugs started to creep into Deep Purple for me mid-tour on the Cal Jam period, where I had not known I had a problem until a year later. You never do. What happened was, I think all of us in the band were dabbling in intoxication, whether it be drink or drugs. I'm not going to name names, it's not my style. But certain members were doing this and certain members were doing that. But when it came to the shove where people were going to sleep and I was basically still partying with the crew, didn't know I had a problem until Come Taste the Band.
I still think Come Taste the Band was a bloody great album. It had some fabulous ideas on it and some great possibilities for direction changes, which wouldn't have been too right-angled. They would have been reasonably part of the same direction that we'd been in. It's just that it was that the internal thing in the band didn't allow that, unfortunately, to be held together.
They recorded Coming Home without me because I'd actually had a bit of a meltdown on the 18th floor of the Arabella Hotel, where I confronted a couple of my guys in the crew due to my intoxication behind cocaine. When I got a copy of Come Taste the Band, there was a song called The Dealer, which I'd sang called something else, where I got a copy of the master, and Dealer comes on, I'm starting to start, and here comes David's voice, singing a whole new lyric, which they'd taken my voice off, which blew me away, because my version was bitching. And, of course, coming home, when I heard the opening of the album, I'm going, wait a minute, I don't remember being on that song. But, like I say, there's no mistakes in God's world. It happens to every band. A lot of people in their 20s died of drug abuse, like Tommy and my brother, Paul Kossoff, and other guys that, died. I scraped myself off the gates of insanity quite a couple of times. But I'm proud of the work I did in Deep Purple.
I still believe that there was a time when Purple was arguably one of the best live performance rock and roll hard rock bands in the world.
It was the
absolutely.
Best. For a couple of years, it was the best.
And Dave and Glenn's entrance into the band did nothing to stop that reputation. It was only after a while that something started to go wrong. So egos took over. Money became so available
The band became dishonest to themselves as the musicians that they were, and it stopped being a group in the sense of a group. And if we'd done any more recording or continued, it would have been so diverse under the Deep Purple umbrella, it would have been totally insulting to anybody buying a Deep Purple album. I would think, and I think we did the right thing to knock it on the head.
We were all 5 different guys on 5 different missions. I was glad when it was over. I wanted to get away. I was tired. I didn't want to make another record of unfocused rock music. You know, 3 albums is enough. 3 albums and 2 live albums was enough.
We did a concert in Liverpool. We did a short English tour.
March the 28th, 1976.
We looked at each other, and nobody actually said a word, but everybody knew what was in
everybody's
mind. And that was the end of it. And at the end of the tour, Tommy came home. You know, he came home here, and he started doing his own thing because he had his second album out. And then 5-6 months later, you know, we heard the news.
Off the record.
When the fun stops, you might as well just stop everything, you know.